Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by Tap and Barrel Grill, the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Baldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping with news that's jaw dropping. They're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening. If you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride of lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater. You better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Welcome to episode 168, right?
168.
Yeah, 168 of Sports on Tap Detroit. Alongside Joe Adell, I am Chris Scott. Joe, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry about that. I surprised you,
You
right
did.
before the
You
show
totally
started.
threw me off, man.
What I said shouldn't have, but it was the timing of me telling you.
Kind of threw me off. I'm not, no bullshit about that. But yes, welcome to the show. Also, if you want to give us a call or shoot us a text, you can do so at 313-744-6119. There might be a faster way to get to us because apparently we've been having some issues.
Yeah, I heard
something?
that our messaging from our social apps is a little delayed in getting to us, which we have the software we use funnels all of our social medias and all the feeds that we have, all those chats to us in one feed so we can see everybody's. So I think there's a little bit of delay there. So if you want to get in touch with us in a more timely fashion, if it's taking too long for your messages to go through and for us to respond, just text that number, 313-744-6119. Or, like Chris said, you can call us if you want to chat with us live.
We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
So please do that. Anyways, getting on with the show here. I mean, it's not a ton that's gone on since our last show. I mean, college football playoff semifinals.
Yep.
And the NFL playoffs. Other than that, it's kind of been a dead week in sports, I'd say. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, NFL playoffs and college football playoffs were the biggest things, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we're at right now. Is we're at the national championship game, which is on Monday, week from yesterday, and then we have the divisional round playoffs in the NFL this weekend.
Yeah. So I suppose we should start off with the college football playoff since that is coming to a head with their national championship game on Monday between Ohio State and Notre Dame, which, as we kind of talked about on the show last week, which is for a certain segment of Michigan fans.
Oh, this is the worst for them.
Is absolute nightmare fuel. It just is. Because there's no way you win in it. You don't win in this at all. You know, it's
this is the
worst. Two of your most hated
them.
rivals.
Yeah.
And one of them is going to win. Most likely it's going to be Ohio State, but one of them has to win. So I guess what I really took out of the semifinal games was that James Franklin lost again in another big game.
That he did.
Which, you know how happy that makes me, Joe.
Yeah. You were probably.
Oh, I was ecstatic about that, and kind of the way they lost too, with their quarterback just throwing just such an ill-advised interception, which you didn't throw the ball down the field like the entire game, and then like the one time he does it, he gets intercepted. Which is great. I will say this, though. Notre Dame, they kind of got away with that one. They really did. I didn't think they played all that well.
They didn't.
But obviously, you do what you got to do to win the game, and they did. They made the bigger plays when it mattered, and they punched their ticket to the national championship game. And then they move on to the Ohio State-Texas game. Now, I look at that game, and Texas could have won that game. They had plenty of opportunities to win that game. But as soon as they ran, I think it was 2nd and goal, and as soon as they ran that halfback toss, I'm like, this game's over.
Yeah.
Like, you're playing fucking scared now. Like, there's no way against that defense that play is going to go anywhere. And it didn't. Right then and there, I'm like, this game is done. And it was.
So if I'm looking at this, I just want to make a point here.
Yeah.
The top 4, the only one left would be Notre Dame, technically based on the top 4. If this was the old playoff system, top 4 ranked would have been the only one left would have been Notre Dame.
Right.
Oregon lost, Georgia lost, Texas lost this last round. Ohio, by all accounts, in my opinion, Ohio State's going to win.
I think they're going to win too.
And that means that this college football playoff, if it was the other way around, Ohio State would have no shot at winning the national championship. Now they do.
If it was just the 4 teams.
Right. And I know if you were in favor of 8 teams.
Yep.
Right? So then Ohio State would have been in with the 8 teams because they were ranked 6th, right? So they would have been in that.
Yep.
But the way it worked out, I'm glad that not a top 4 chalk. And again, Notre Dame's a 3rd seed. They still have a chance to win. I'm not saying they're not going to, but if Ohio State wins, which I think they will, this will be a team winning that did not have a shot last year. That would not have had a shot last year.
No, like I said,
love it.
I don't
love
mind
it.
them expanding the playoff.
Right.
I just
I know
think
you
it's
were
too many.
Right. I love the fact that they expanded it to whatever they expanded it to, and the fact that already in the first year, you're seeing the 4-team playoff was not what needed to be there.
No, it definitely needed to go more than 4.
Right.
Like that, I 100% agree with you on. I think 12 is too many. If they did 8, I think that's perfect. That's a perfect number. I do. I think the games would be better. Not as many teams are going to get the chance to to play for a national championship, but so what? Like give me the best. If you're not going to give me 4, which that's generally the most quality football you're going to get, but then you get it to where, and especially with the SEC bias bullshit, are those really the 4 best teams? But now
Exactly.
when you do it with 8. Okay, fine. You want to get 2 of your fucking SEC teams in? Fine. And instead of doing it with the 4 teams, and you got 2 SEC teams in there, which to me, and we've talked about this years ago about this when the playoff first kind of came about, and that was my biggest thing is win your fucking conference. Like if you don't win your conference, you should be automatically eliminated from conversation, unless you're obviously Notre Dame because they don't play in a conference.
Right. Or unless it's 12 teams in that case, which
Right.
you're going to have some non-conference winners get in there.
But in the 4-team, win your conference. Like
Well,
that,
yeah.
That's if you didn't win your
Yeah.
conference, that should automatically eliminate
Yeah,
you
right.
from being in contention for a playoff spot. I'm sorry, but obviously that's not the way it is anymore. You have 12 teams, so obviously you're going to get non-conference champions in there.
And whether you're for 8 or 12, it doesn't matter to me. It's the fact that when you look at it, the way the NIL is and the way college football is going,
Yep.
you will see lower seeded playoff schools compete and win a national title.
Oh,
you will see that.
Well, it's just like in the NCAA tournament now. Like 16 beating a 1 is not even a thing anymore. Like it's not even a huge deal anymore.
Right.
Because of NIL.
Right.
And all these kids transferring.
The NIL will make it to where there will be a very high seed or low seed, however you want to describe it.
I don't disagree with you on that.
That will win the national championship.
And I'm fine with that.
Right. I love it.
Like, I'm absolutely 100% okay with that. Do I think NIL needs to be kind of curtailed a little bit? Yes, absolutely. I do.
Well, there needs to be some rules.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be some sort of cap or something. I don't know, but there definitely needs to be some regulations on this shit. Because
I mean, it shouldn't just be the wild, wild west out there?
No, because, like, Georgia's quarterback, he transferred.
Yeah.
And he went to Miami. And apparently he got millions of dollars to do so. Which is like, what are we doing here? You know? But I look at it this way: if you're a coach of one of these players, bench his ass. Be like, you're getting paid, dude. If you're not playing up to what you're getting paid, you're gonna be on the bench. They're gonna fucking transfer anyways.
Right.
You know? So it's like, bench his ass.
There needs to be some rules, and I know one of the rules that I said, people have an argument against it because, you know, when you're under 18, you can't sign a contract, right? Of any sort, right? You can't be obligated to a contract, but there needs to be some sort of a contract system in place, whereas they're not transferring every year, or they're not, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be, all right, you get paid this money to go to the school. Okay, you're there for 2 years. You're there for 3, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, not gonna be 4. You have to be able to you have to give them an opportunity to transfer at one point. But maybe it's a 2-year deal, right? Maybe it's all right. You got 2 years.
You got
here.
a 2-year contract,
right?
Like
and I think that would cut down on all the transfer portal bullshit we see.
Oh, it's way too much.
But you're still going to see them getting paid. There does need to be some rules put in place.
Yes.
And I am not 100% certain on what they need to be. That's one thing that I came up with. Like there needs to be some sort of a contract length.
I think you get one free transfer. You go wherever you want. That's fine. After that, you have to sit out a year. If you want to transfer again, you have to sit out a year. Well, they say, well, coaches transfer all the time. They leave whenever they want. Yeah, they do. So, you know, I get it. It sucks, but
there's a conversation going on right now in the chat that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's fun.
Really?
So Jeremy said something completely unrelated to anything. Is there anything better than playing dodgeball with a 2-year-old? LOL. And then Bobby Becker joined in, and he said, asserting dominance and nailing said 2-year-old right in the face.
Bobby, I'm with you, dude.
I will say that I have played dodgeball with my daughter.
Life lesson, kid.
I have played dodgeball with my daughter with one of those little spongy balls. And she does it with her papa, too.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it's fun. It's fun as hell.
Oh, yeah. It's... But
she plays the run game where she'll run away
Yeah.
and then try to run back, and she's got to, as I throw it at her, she's got to try to jump and dodge it. It's fun. It's fun as hell.
Like,
I agree with both you guys.
Do they even play dodgeball in school anymore? I know it's
They don't.
It's, you know, because of course
It's not PC,
right?
right?
Exactly. Like, God, I feel like once they started eliminating dodgeball out of school curriculum,
Everything went downhill.
everything went downhill.
Sometimes you have to learn to take balls to the face.
I guess. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's when everything changed. Like when they took dodgeball out, you know, and
Dodgeball was fun as hell.
hell
when I
yeah,
was a kid,
it was
man.
one of our in gym class. We always look forward
And let's
to
face
dodgeball day.
I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. Dodgeball day was fucking awesome.
It was awesome.
And let's face it, those balls that you used were spongy and soft. They weren't that. Even if you get hit with it, it's not hurting.
But you always gang up on the dorky. Sorry, man. Get out of the way.
Be better.
Pay attention. If you pay attention, you won't get hit by the ball. As simple as that. But of course, like you said, it's all PC bullshit now, and God forbid you hit a kid in the face with a dodgeball. So I don't know. Joe, I learned early to take balls to the face.
I was speaking about you, but that's
Fair enough. Anyway.
I expect nothing different from Joe.
Yeah. I don't know how the hell we got on the topic of dodgeball. I mean, obviously with this chat, but getting back to the college football playoff. So we have Notre Dame versus Ohio State in the national championship game. I mean, obviously I'm going to watch it just because it's a national championship game. I'm not going to root for either team because I don't like either team.
Yeah. I'm not. I'll watch it.
I just want a good game.
I have no rooting interest.
No, I just want a good game. It's simple as that.
Either way, I'm going to have one of my good friends that's just going to be arrogant as shit, right? So
Oh, yeah.
Brooks is going to be arrogant if Ohio State wins.
And Frank's going to run
Frank's
his
going to
mouth.
be arrogant as shit if Notre Dame wins.
Yeah. I feel like Brooks is going to be the more arrogant one. If
Terrence
wins.
Terrence at work will be arrogant as fuck too if Ohio State wins.
Okay.
He's an Ohio State fan. So like It's not gonna be fun either way for me to hear that bullshit, but
No, of
that's
course
fine.
not.
We got to talk our shit last year, so it is what it is.
We did, and like I said in last week's show, ours is still better, so it's fine. It's all good.
Ohio State, you may win the national championship, but you didn't beat Michigan in the same year.
Beat Michigan, and you lost twice. Sorry. But in getting into this game, I don't really see a world where where Notre Dame wins this game.
I feel bad because they're not a bad football team, and they've won up until this point.
They have.
But I'm with you. I don't see a way they win this. I
Like,
just don't.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
No, but I don't see a world where they win.
No, I think it's going to be kind of like the Ohio State versus Texas game, where Ohio State kind of pulled away late. I think that's kind
Yeah.
of what's going to happen here. I could see like a 35-21 game or something like that.
Shit, I could even see an exact score of the Ohio State-Texas game, 28-14.
I could see that too.
Like it's 14-14 going into halftime, or 14-7 going into
Right.
halftime.
The only way I kind of see Notre Dame kind of having a shot in this game is if they can run the football and control the clock. That's really the only way I see this.
Yeah.
Them having a remote shot to win this
Limit Ohio State's possessions.
game. Exactly. I mean, credit to Texas. They schemed up against Jeremiah Smith. I think he only had like one catch in the game, if I remember correctly. But Tate, their other good receiver, he went off. So
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
7 for 87.
So
on 9
it's kind of
targets.
pick your poison there. So it's like, okay, what do we do here? But again, credit to Texas. They had a great scheme against Jeremiah Smith, who's a freaking man-child. So
Brooks chimes in and just yells, "Buckeyes!" and he smiles. Yes, yeah, we said you're probably going to be arrogant, Mike.
sweet. That's terrific. But
Bobby Becker says, "I regret not placing bets on Notre Dame to win the Natty after losing to NIU. Those odds were probably
did you
insane."
see what NIU what they tweeted out?
No.
Oh, this shit's hilarious. I sent it to Frank. He got a good laugh out of it. But let me see if I can pull it up here because I found it really funny actually and clever, to be honest with you. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
Mike, we gave an announcement at the beginning of the show. I'm not sure if you were in there, but based on your feedback, we told everybody that there is a delay in our messaging system, apparently, based on the fact that all of our messages get sent to our one centralized app that we have.
Yeah.
So if you want to text, maybe we'll get it sooner. 313-744-6119.
Yeah.
And you can text that, or you can give us a call.
Yes. So after Notre Dame won the Orange Bowl, they just tweeted out Orange Bowl 2025 Orange Bowl champions.
Okay.
Right? So, and Northern Illinois, who Notre Dame lost to earlier this season, they said, "You've come a long way from our tussle. It's so amazing to see you back on your feet and one step away from immortality. Congrats, little bro. Go make us proud." I was like,
That's
I
awesome.
was like, that is genius.
That's fantastic.
Well played, NIU. Well played. I found that rather. So I
Wow.
had to send that to Frank. He found it funny too. So.
that is hilarious.
Yeah, that is well played by NIU's social media department. So well done, guys.
Yes. Good evening, Mike. And Mike says, "Nope, that's it." We're not talking about right now. We're not talking about right now being arrogant, Mike. We're talking about if my positioning was I don't have a rooting interest in this one because I have friends that root for both schools. So if Ohio State wins, I've got you. You're going to be arrogant. I got Terrence at work. He's going to be arrogant. If Notre Dame wins, Frank's going to be arrogant.
Oh yeah, big time.
So, I mean, either way, it's a lose-lose for me.
Yes.
So as long as it's a good game, that's all I give a shit about.
No, I want a good game. I might throw some money down in this game too. Maybe some prop bets or something like that. I'm not a huge fan of the spread in this one, but
Yeah, no. I don't bet too much college football. Even props. Like props in college are too hard to predict because I mean you look at what you just said about Ohio State. They took out what's his name, and Tate was the guy that was the go-to guy. You know what I mean? So like it's a little more difficult than in the pros, and even in the pros, I'll be honest with you, I got my ass handed to me last night in a game where every prop I had was close but not there.
Yeah.
In a game where every prop was projected to be over. It was just not a good game offensively. Even from the Rams, who scored a defensive touchdown, they didn't put up a whole ton of yards either. So like receptions, yards, none of that panned out last night. I got my ass handed to me last night. Thank God I had a good Saturday and Sunday, because last night was bad.
Well, that's unfortunate for you.
You know, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. That's why it's
That
called
is-
gambling.
So, all right,
it's not
fine.
called winning.
So since you brought up what happened last night in the Rams-Vikings game,
Yeah,
Well-
that I did.
we'll switch over to the NFL playoffs. In the
NFL playoffs,
the NFL playoffs, the
not the NHL
wild
playoffs.
card, the wild card round, which ended last night with the
Yes.
Rams taking out the overrated Vikings.
Boy, they turned into a pumpkin, huh?
I tried telling you guys.
Well, the Rams did exactly what the Lions did.
I
They
know.
just blitzed the shit out of them.
They blitzed the shit out of Sam Darnold, and Sam
See,
Darnold wins Sam Darnold.
Well, they couldn't protect him,
Nope.
so they blitzed, and that offensive line opened up like Swiss cheese,
It did,
and he couldn't make a throw to save his life at one point.
but if you're Kevin O'Connell, how do you not look at that and switch up what you're doing?
That's what I don't understand.
Like you
I
can't.
don't get it.
You can't keep running these routes that take a long time to develop if you're getting blitzed like that. You can't.
And half the time I was looking, they were just running go routes.
Literally,
it was
yes.
like 4 go routes.
Yes.
Can you have a guy cut across?
Like just do some underneath
something.
shit.
Something,
Like some quick hitters. Like that's how you beat the blitz. You do quick hitters.
bro. It was,
I'm watching this shit going, change what you're doing.
and they
He
did.
doesn't have time back there.
They refused. I don't understand how you don't run some cross routes, run some
Something.
like you have to run some wide receiver screens,
Yep.
something.
Yeah, but you kept running the same plays over and over, and even and even when with Darnold, he holds the ball too long.
And so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It's an NFL quarterback problem right
bad.
now. Sam Darnold did it a lot last night. He did a lot against the Lions.
He did.
I have seen it's become an epidemic in the NFL where non-mobile quarterbacks that don't run to get out of the pocket just hold the ball way too fucking long. I've even seen it from guys like CJ Stroud this year.
Yep.
Just holding the ball.
You're watching it.
Holy
going,
shit! You don't get 10 minutes to throw the
No.
football, guys.
No.
What are you doing?
Like
You should have an interclock
Yeah.
in your head. Get rid of the football.
like you watched it, and he would just like lock onto a receiver, and just like it would like freeze when that guy wasn't open. He would just freeze instead of like trying to run or scramble or do anything. Just look for another receiver, anything.
Well, they got him panicked because
Yeah.
they were just blitzing his shit out.
Yeah.
They did. Detroit did it. The Rams did it last night,
Yeah.
and literally. So the thing of it was with Darnold is he had the inner clock in his head. The only thing is he didn't throw the football before that clock ended. He panicked once that clock in his head
Yeah.
ended, and he just started trying to scramble and figure out where to go. He would spin. He'd spin into a fucking tackle. Like it was just
I
the
mean-
inner clock was there, but it triggered panic instead of throwing the football.
And you get sacked 9 times. That's a
Dude,
problem.
it's sad.
That's a problem. I'm not gonna put it all on Darnold because you can't.
No, you can't. That offensive line did not help him at all.
But I think there's a lot of blame to go around here. Obviously, you can put it on Darnold. You can put it on the offensive line. You can put it on the play caller
absolutely.
because you got to change some shit up here, especially at halftime. How do you not come out of halftime doing something completely different? That to me is coaching malpractice.
Yeah,
And
It-
I
it
like
was-
Kevin O'Connell. I do. I think he's a good coach.
I agree, which is why it's surprising that there was no adjustment at all.
0. It was just like, oh,
And I'm glad I wasn't wrong because I was watching it, and sometimes I get a little bit jaded because I'm looking for something. If you look for something, you see it, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of backed it up. Like there was a lot of go routes.
Oh yeah.
Even with he'd have 3 receivers and a tight end, and every one of them, all 4 of them, were running straight go routes.
Yep.
He doesn't have time to throw that. Not to mention, he doesn't have time for them to get open.
No.
He's just going to chuck it up. And you saw he did chuck it up a couple times, overthrew it.
Yep.
Just did not hit, wasn't connected with the receivers. But run something across the middle.
Yep.
Run a pick route. You can't call it a pick, but run a
Yeah,
run a rub route.
Yep.
Run a wide receiver screen. Run something else other than straight go routes.
Yeah, for sure, because they take too long to develop. They just do, especially if that's a defense you're going to go up against. That's not how you beat that defense.
No, even the 7 route takes too long.
Yes.
I mean, especially when they're not really getting separation, which is another thing they weren't doing.
No.
They weren't getting any separation.
Like I don't care what receivers you have. You can have the best receiver in the game, arguably. It doesn't matter,
Right?
It doesn't matter if
That's the other thing. The fact that they didn't really use him more. I'm talking about Jefferson with wide receiver screens, easy pitch and catch to where he can make a guy miss and get some yardage. Like they did none of that.
No, they didn't. So again, I think that was kind of coaching malpractice in that game, but that's what happens. So we kind of, and it's, I feel like we say this a lot with the Vikings, like whenever they have a good record, it's like, are they fraudulent? Yeah, I think they kind of are. But two things about that: he lost a lot of money last night. Sam Darnold did.
Oh, a ton.
And there is no chance in hell he is back with the Vikings.
I won't say no chance in hell. It definitely diminished last night.
I don't.
It's a matter of
so
do
at
they
all.
think JJ is going to be the guy next year?
I think they're going to go all in on him.
And if not, who's your stopgap, right? I don't think they thought they were going to be this good as a team.
Right.
And again, you could say they're fraudulent, but as a team, they won their games, right?
They did.
And in the last couple games, if you have a quarterback that is better under pressure, you at least are more in those games as opposed to getting dominated in those games. So do you go with the quote-unquote rookie? Because he didn't play this year, so technically next year.
But I think he would have had he stayed healthy.
I think if they start the season, they would have for sure.
Yep. So I don't see any reason to believe that they wouldn't start him next year.
I don't know. I think they might question it based on the fact that I don't think they expected to be this good. I really don't. I don't think anybody on Minnesota expected them to be this good, and then they were.
Right.
So do you throw a rookie? I mean, I know it's going to be a second year, but you didn't play. So do you throw a rookie in there, expecting to win? Expecting to win?
Why not? The Commanders did it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's rare.
I mean, the fucking Texans did it last year.
Okay, still rare though. I mean,
I'm just giving you examples. It has happened. It's not like a new thing.
It has. So I mean, but again, you and I both agree, JJ ain't that fucking good. JJ's not Jaden Daniels.
I don't think he is
JJ's
either,
not CJ
but-
Stroud, bro.
But can he be better than Sam Darnold? That's your bar.
Over the season?
Yeah.
No.
You don't think he can?
Over the season? No. Last 2 games, maybe, because he has escapability. JJ could have escaped some of those blitzes. JJ has moved at least. Can
He's
move
mobile.
around.
He can-
right.
yeah.
But over the season, I'll be honest with you. Next year, no, I don't think he's better than Sam Darnold was this year. Because as a season, Sam Darnold played really well. The last 2 games are what's going to overshadow his actual good season.
Right. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. They're going to end up going with JJ, provided he comes off this injury healthy, which I think he will. And they're going to pick up some scrappy backup quarterback, something like that. And
Mike says JJ's not their answer. And I tend to agree with you there. It's a matter of whether they think he's their answer or not.
Right. I think they're going to go into the season thinking he's the answer.
They might. I think they'd be stupid not to have at least a really good backup.
Yeah. No, it's kind of like the Dolphin situation. Like you got a guy in Tua who gets hurt all the freaking time.
Right. But you don't.
But you have a horrible backup. You have 2 horrible backups.
Yeah. They might as well have had Helen Keller back.
Right? So I think if the Vikings are smart, that's what they will do. They'll go into the season starting J.J. McCarthy, and they will have a legitimate backup in case things go haywire. So
And then Frank says, I missed most of the show, but Joe, did you bring your leotard? And then he says, Moppy says, don't ignore. I wasn't ignoring. I just wasn't getting to it yet because we were talking about J.J. McCarthy. But it's
Wait,
it's a story.
oh, I need to hear this. Let's go.
Moppy from work
Yeah.
texted me the other day, texted me on Saturday when she woke up. She goes, I had a dream, and you were in it. And she said that I had a dream that I went out to your office, We were at work. Went out to your office, and the door was just slightly open, and I popped my head in, and you were out there jumping rope in a blue metallic leotard. And she said we talk.
You want to talk about nightmare fuel?
Yeah, that's what I said. Basically my text back to her was, "What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like what? Even in your dreams, you're fucked up. What is wrong? What is wrong with you?"
That's not a great sleeping pill. Yeah, that's no good. Funny though.
Mike, the text is working. It says you'll be on a cruise watching the championship game. Should be some good fun. That game sucked last night. The Lions ruined the Vikings. That they did.
Yeah,
they definitely ruined the Vikings.
That was a bad football game last night. It really was.
Yep. And then JJ is not going to be any better.
Maybe.
We'll see. I don't know who this is, but they said the Rams studied the Detroit game hard. It looked like the same game. Oh, it absolutely was.
It was very much the same game.
It was the same game plan
Yep.
by the Rams.
Yep.
Is blitz again, and when all else fails, blitz again.
And you got to give credit to the Rams offense too. Like they looked fantastic last night.
Yeah.
So credit to Sean McVay.
But and the funny thing is, they didn't have to be very good. They looked good. They looked okay. I mean, Matt Stafford was making some throws even when he got blitzed. Matt Stafford is that dude's still got an arm. That is just ridiculous. This is Jeremy, by the way, on that text.
He made a couple throws last night that I'm like, there's only like 3 guys in this league can make that throw.
Right.
So credit to him. They got the job done. But you know who else gets the job done?
Jason Stillner from Flagstar Bank.
Yes, that is correct. If you're a homeowner or looking to be a first-time home buyer, give Jason Stiltner, Senior Loan Officer at Flagstar Bank, a call today with 248-752-3631. Jason has great mortgage programs for first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance options and excellent interest rates. Again, give my guy, Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
No, I sound drunk.
A little bit. So moving on from the debacle that was the Rams-Vikings game to what ended up being probably the best game of the week in the Washington-Tampa Bay game.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, man.
He's more poised than most rookies I've seen. He has some great poise. Mike says, in your eyes, was that an incomplete pass by Stafford? I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Oh, the one where he was getting sacked and he just kind of like tossed it.
Oh, yeah. In my mind, so by the definition of the rule, yes. I think the definition of the rule there is utilized. To me, it also should have been intentional grounding if it was considered a pass.
Intentional grounding for sure.
I know they said, well, there was a guy in the vicinity. Okay, well, great.
See, this is what I don't get. What is the vicinity? Like, what is the baseline for vicinity?
Well, that's what I don't understand.
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. To me,
is it 2 yards? Is it 5 yards? I don't fucking know.
If you're gonna base that as a pass, which he did flick it, it was an underhand pass. In my mind, if they'd have ruled it a fumble, I would have had no problem with it. Because I think realistically, it probably should have been a fumble. And Mike, I see you say that was not a pass. If you're going just by the definition rule, he flicked it. It was a pass. But I think that it's just silly that was considered a pass. And if it was considered a pass, it should have been intentional grounding.
Why was it not? Exactly. And again, this what I don't get is what is the baseline for in the area?
Mike says his wrist was going forward, not his arm. Right. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
I don't know. That's something I've always been curious about. Like, what is the baseline here? I don't know. You see guys like 7 yards away. Oh, he was in the area.
Well, I've seen it where the guy's arm is going forward.
Yeah.
The football is clearly not necessarily in his hand, but his hand going forward is still pushing the football.
Right.
And they called it an incomplete pass because the ball was still projected forward with his hand. I'm like, that's fucking stupid too. The ball, he wasn't even holding the football.
Right.
He just kind of
pushed it.
It fumbled out of his hand and he pushed it forward. But
I think as soon as it comes out of his hand.
Depends on the team for the baseline.
Oh yeah. You're talking about that one in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think some of the rules are definitely to be interpreted by the refs, and that's what I hate about the NFL rules sometimes is that there's too much interpretation that takes
There
place.
is, and that shouldn't be a thing. But unfortunately, in every sport, there are rules like that. But we digress.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the Washington Tampa Bay game. I thought it was a solid game. It wasn't like a great game by any means.
No.
But
It was the closest game.
it
of
was the
whole week.
closest game, and it actually had an interesting finish to it. And I give credit to Washington. They walked in there. They took care of business, and Jaden Daniels especially. And now they got to go play the Lions in the game that will be 0 punts in, which should be fun. God,
Yeah.
Can you imagine him walking into Ford Field and beating the Lions?
I mean, I would. I'm picturing it in my mind because I
Yeah.
want it to happen.
It's
I
not-
just
I don't
don't.
think it's
I don't.
gonna happen.
I don't see it happening.
I don't either, but I mean, can you imagine? It was like years ago when Vic walked into Lambeau and beat the Packers.
Yeah.
Like nobody saw that coming, but he ended up doing it.
No, I don't see it happening. I mean, I'd be happy as a pig and shit if it does.
Oh
but
yeah, big time. But I don't see it happening. But
if you ask Lions fans right now, they're already in the Super Bowl.
I've heard that.
So
Yeah. I mean, I gotta say it. I look at the NFC. I'm like, yeah, okay. I get it. I get why you think that. Like the NFC, like nobody in that conference scares me. Like I don't think Philly's that good. Like the teams that are left, I don't think. The only one, honestly, I think the Rams would scare me more than the Eagles.
I tend to agree with you, and I still think Philadelphia's going to win that game. But I agree that the Rams might be, at least for Detroit, I think the Rams might be a harder matchup than Philly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Philly's not going to be able to. Their problem is Jalen Hurts got hurt,
Yeah, and he looks like shit.
and well, he did. He didn't look very good in that first game back, but he was good most of the season, right? So if he regains that, then they'll be a scary team.
Right.
And if you have Saquon running the way he's running, you're a scary team no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you can control the football.
I
You're getting big chunks of yards.
I just don't know if they're going to be able to put up the points like the Rams can put up the points. You know, I think the Rams can score with the Lions. I don't necessarily know if the Eagles can.
The Eagles have the ability to.
Maybe.
At their best, they do. I mean, they have two really good wide receivers. One of them great. They have Saquon, who is fucking otherworldly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Both of those teams have a good defense too. The Rams and Philly have a good
See,
defense.
this is the weird thing. The Rams' defense isn't that good, but they played really well yesterday.
They've played really well in a few games this year.
Yeah.
They have some younger guys on that team,
Yeah.
but they just don't stop. They're relentless.
Yeah. I don't know. It should be. I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I think the Lions will beat Washington, and that game is actually going to be interesting. The Eagles and Rams. I think it's going to. I have a feeling that game's going to be a shootout. I really do.
I think it might be.
But like I said, credit to Washington. They went to Tampa Bay, took care of business. Especially Jaden Daniels. Good for them.
Yeah.
Next on the slate, we got the Eagles and Packers game. This was a boring fucking game. It
Yeah,
really was.
It was not. Honestly, I didn't watch much of it. I left, so we went to Tap and Barrel
We did. Yes.
for the Bills game.
Yes.
Before that,
Yep.
great time, by the way.
Yes, go there.
We're gonna do their advertisement here in a little bit, but a little advertisement while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Great food.
Great food.
Great
Very-
food.
yes,
Our
excellent.
waitress was really great.
Yep.
Her name was Brittany. Did a great job. She was busy.
Yeah.
But we didn't really feel it. Like we didn't feel like she was neglecting us at all. Like I mean, the service was great. The food was amazing. You guys definitely have to go there and try it out. But
I would recommend it. Yes, their food was outstanding.
so we went there. We watched the Bills Broncos game, and that game came on afterwards. And I stayed there for a little. You guys left, and I got caught up talking there for a little bit, and then I left, and I had a couple errands I had to run before I went home. So I didn't actually watch much of that game. And by all accounts, I didn't miss anything.
You really didn't miss much. It was a very very boring football game. It just kind of showed like Jordan Love. I don't know if he's hurt or what, or he's just not ready for prime time. I have no idea. He did not look good.
No.
3 picks, 20-33 for 212. Not exactly his best effort. Again, I don't know if he's hurt still or what, but yeah, again, not a good game. Eagles take it 22-10. Credit to them. They're expected to be where they're at. So
Yeah, I mean, they got the job done, but I mean, that's what was expected, right?
yes,
So
exactly. And then we move on to the Bills-Broncos game. Now, so we get to Tap and Barrel, right? Like right about game time, maybe a little bit earlier, but kickoff. I'm like, all right, let's go. And it's almost like immediately the Bills were down 7-0.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool. It's going to be one of those games. Terrific.
But luckily, that was the only 7 points Denver scored.
That was, yeah, the Bills, the Bills, and this is what I think they're going to have to do against the Ravens, is exactly what they did against the Broncos, is control the clock. Like, you look at the time of possession in that game, the discrepancy, it's significant. I think that's what they're going to have to do against Baltimore, is keep Lamar and Derrick Henry off the field. And if they can do that, I think they got a significant shot. But what I think is going to happen with that game, and obviously the Bills won 31-7, so they've obviously moved on. So at this point, let's just kind of the previews of the divisional round. Bills Ravens, probably the highlight game of the week, as it's the 6:30 game on Sunday.
Yeah.
I look at that game, and like I said, it's like I think the Bills, they're going to have to control the football, as simple as that, which I think Baltimore knows that. So I think they're going to try to game plan against that and stop Cook.
And Baltimore can control the clock too. So it's going to
They
be a
can.
matter of it's really going to be two teams battling to try to control the clock and keep the
Yes.
other offense off the field, right?
So what I think is going to happen here is both teams are going to gear up to stop the run,
Yeah.
and you're going to see it. You're going to see Lamar versus Josh. Who wins?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that, people want to see that. Go for it, man. Why not? I think that's how this game is going to play out. Yeah, obviously Baltimore hammered the Bills. What was that, week 3? These are both different teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
And actually, the funny thing is, so Buffalo's definitely a better team since then, right?
Yeah.
And that was a slip up in their season.
but
But
Baltimore is too.
I was going to say, oddly enough, Baltimore's a better team.
Yeah,
than
their
they were
defense
at that
got
point
better.
in time.
Because their defense throughout the majority of the season was trash.
It was not good.
But
First half of the season was not good.
I'd say the past 6, 7, 8 weeks, that's been a really good defense.
Yeah, so it's odd to say that it's going to be a closer game than before, being that Baltimore has gotten better, but so is Buffalo. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a hard-fought game, and that is probably the game that I'm most looking forward to as far as a competitive game to watch.
Yeah. And obviously Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game because they think the spread is 1.
Yeah.
But Baltimore is favored. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Should be a good one. I'm looking forward to that game. So we shall see how that plays out. In the other AFC divisional, we have who the hell else is playing? I don't even know.
Houston, KC.
Houston, KC. That's right, yeah.
Houston won. Houston beat the Chargers
Yes, Houston beat the Chargers.
in another lopsided game.
Another
I mean,
lopsided-
every game was lopsided except for one, honestly.
Right. This wild card round was not very fun to watch.
No.
It just wasn't. But then you get into the divisional. We got Houston and KC. I think this is an easy one for KC. I really do. I think yeah.
Well, we'll get into the picks later on, but
Yeah.
I think Houston will at least keep it close.
You think so?
KC's games have all been close this year.
Yeah.
They don't route anybody anymore.
Yeah, but this is the playoffs. Man.
They win, but they don't route. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like like toward the end of the season, those last couple games, they were like, okay, now they flipped that switch. It's like, all right, it's playoffs. Like, this is what we do. We pound teams. Let's go.
Well, it's all gonna come down to which CJ Stroud you get. in my opinion.
Now, like we talked about C.J. Stroud and how seeing Tank Dell get hurt, that really kind of fucked him up. I think this past week he did look better. He looked kind of back to kind of his old self. Not fully,
I was going to say, not fully.
but you could see signs that he was getting back to that.
It definitely was a much better game than he's played recently.
Yeah.
Eight targets for Nico Collins, his number one receiver, 7 receptions. He was putting the ball in more catchable places.
Yeah.
He was leading Nico Collins again as opposed to trying not to throw him into an injury. He was 22 of 33 for 282, touchdown and interception. So I mean, he was closer to last year's CJ Stroud than he was in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yes, he certainly was. So I guess the Texans do have that going for them. It's hard to bet against the Chiefs when it comes to the playoffs. It just is.
Yeah. I agree.
This is what they do. They get to the playoffs and they win. They turn into
I think they're going to win.
They turn into a different animal. They just do.
I have no doubt they're going to win that game. I don't think anybody going into this should think Houston's going to win.
You know who else wins?
The Joe Wright Group.
That's right.
They win for you all the time.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 3 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side. Make the right move with the right group, the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, and Shane Wilson a call today with 248-535-4750 to fulfill all of your real estate needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just do it myself instead of hitting the button.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NFC, which I don't know. It's weird. It's like you look at the NFC, and we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. Like, do any of these teams like truly scare you besides maybe Detroit?
No, so I'll be honest with you. I think they're all closer together. Like, Baltimore and Buffalo are really great.
Yeah.
KC is KC, and then you got Houston, right? I think Detroit is probably the cream of the crop in the NFC. And then you've got Washington, who's just out kicking the coverage. You know what I mean?
Big
Like
time,
they're doing way better than anybody thought they would or should.
And I guess like if I'm
And Philadelphia and LA to me are they're on the same level.
yeah.
They're just a level below Detroit.
And I think that may be one advantage that Washington has going into this game is they're playing with house money.
Yeah, they got nothing to lose.
No,
I
they're
mean,
playing without
honestly,
money.
just go out there and fucking put it all out the
like
field.
the pressure's on Detroit to win that game. It's not Washington has zero pressure on them to win that game.
Right.
Zero.
No, that's true.
I think they're going to win that game? No, I don't.
No.
But
No.
like that's really the only I guess advantage that Washington has going into that game is they have nothing to lose. So we'll see how that goes. And then you got the LA Philly matchup, which I think that game is going to be a track meet. I really do. So we'll see. It's hopefully these games are better than Wild Card Weekend. That would be nice.
I really hope so.
Because
I really
Wild
hope
Card
so.
Weekend was just not good. It
Not
was-
ideal.
It really wasn't. I mean, yeah, did my team move on? Of course, but I'm just talking about the play as a whole.
Yeah, I was saying
and
just
the games as a whole.
Just in general, it was not ideal.
Not great. So hopefully this week plays out better. So
Yes. But if you're looking for a place to go to watch any of these games this weekend, including the Lions game at 8 p.m. on Saturday night,
a million TVs too. at
yep,
This place.
look no further than Tap and Barrel Grill in Shelby Township. They're one of the newest sports bars in Metro Detroit. They have an upscale sports bar, features over 40 craft beers on tap,
Can confirm.
handcrafted cocktails, a delicious scratch-made food menu, which we can also vouch for because we ate a lot of food
Yes,
that
we
day.
did.
We ordered a lot. We ate a lot. It was
Yes, we
amazing.
did.
Get the quesadilla, which is fucking awesome.
Or the 3 a.m. burger. That shit
Yeah.
was delicious.
Everything was great, honestly. They have a comfortable feel, attentive staff, fine dining food options, and all that makes it a must-visit spot for sports fans and foodies alike. Whether you're watching the big game, like the Lions at 8 p.m. on Saturday, or just looking for a great meal, Tap and Barrel Grill has you covered. Tap and Barrel Grill, visit them at 50055 Van Dyke Avenue in Shelby Township, or go to tapandbarrelgrill.com.
What I liked about that is like the high top tables, they have TVs like literally at your table,
Yeah.
which was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. We had a TV right at the table. It was fantastic.
I thought that was really cool. How they have that set up. So yeah, plenty of TVs. I'm sure all of them will be on the Lions game.
Yep. And when you go get the mozzarella cheese sticks,
Yes.
Yes, they were fucking bomb, man.
That
They're
is-
not just frozen
No.
cheese sticks that they
No.
buy at a store. Like they're hand breaded, handmade.
Yeah.
Those were some of the best cheese sticks I
Those
think I've
might
ever
be
had in my
the best
life.
cheese sticks I've ever had. They were outstanding. So
Yep.
yeah, if you're looking for an appetizer there while you're watching the game, I recommend the cheese sticks for sure. Anyways, moving on.
Picks,
Picks.
or you got something else to do?
Picks. Do
Picks.
it. Go.
This segment is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group.
It's time!
Okay. Give me a second here. I'll pull up the picks from last week, where once again Joe did not do very well. That Joe guy, man, he can't pick anything this year. Looking at this, Frank by far won the week. 2-0 in college picks, 5-1 in
Damn.
NFL picks.
Good for you, buddy.
We all went 2-0 in the college picks.
All right.
The NFL picks, on the other hand, were not very good to you and I.
Yeah, that's fair.
Frank was 5-1. Eric was 4-2. You and I were both 2-4.
Okay.
So you have dropped down to my level, at least for 1 week.
Yeah. Yeah, that
But
happened.
for the year, you're much better than I am.
Yeah, baby.
Frank actually, I haven't done the percentages yet, but he would be winning. He's 143, 127, and 2.
Shit.
You are 152, 140, and 2.
Okay.
Eric is 151, 141, and 2, right behind you.
Yep.
And I am pulling up the caboose. 144, 148, and 2.
Nice.
I would not bet anything that I give you on the picks.
No, but when we do the picks next year,
No.
we're gonna add a little twist to it, which
Yes,
I
we
think-
will.
I think it's gonna be a little.
It's going to make me do a little more research on my picks.
I would hope so. Shit, you might want to.
Yeah. If not, I'm fucked.
You are totally fucked. Anyways, so getting into this week's picks, obviously a small slate because there's not that many games left. So we dive in here, and we'll start with the college football playoff national championship game. Ohio State taking on Notre Dame. Ohio State is laying 8. Joe, you and Eric took Ohio State. Frank and I took Notre Dame.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Moving on to the Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City's laying 8. Joe, you took Houston. The rest of us took Kansas City.
I work with retards.
After that, we got the Rams taking on the Eagles. Eagles laying 6. Joe, you and I took the Eagles. Eric and Frank took the Rams.
It's the Catalina fucking wine mixer.
After that, we got Baltimore laying 1, taking on Buffalo. Joe, Frank, and I took Baltimore. Eric took Buffalo.
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
And the last game on the NFL slate, obviously the biggest game ever played. It is the Washington Redskins taking on the Detroit Lions. Lions are laying 9.5. We all took the Leos.
Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
And those are this week's picks.
The biggest game ever played. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Give us a like and a share and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. Check out SOTDET.com. While you're there, click on shop, support us, buy some stuff with Sports on Tap Detroit logos on it. We would appreciate it. It would support the show. Also, while you're there, support all of our sponsors by clicking on their links and going to their socials and visiting them. We would appreciate it. SOTDET.com. On behalf of Chris, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No, 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 no!
Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I've ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be it bad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.